under Biden's administration, Department of Homeland Security, DHS, they published a final rule in December. So December of last month, that's 2024, the final rule was published. And 30 days after the final rule is published, it takes into effect. So a lot of changes were codified and they were published tomorrow, which is January 17th. All these new rules kick into effect. And these rules are proposed to strengthen the H-1B program. And some of the rules are good, some of the rules are bad. But overall, I think it's I mean, one thing that's going to happen is things are going to change because now we have new rules. New rules have in 2020 there was a lawsuit, and after the judgment, USCIS went and rescinded a couple of old memos. So these old memos talked about client letters, contracts, and a couple of other things. So USCIS, based on that lawsuit, based on the final outcome, these old memos were rescinded. And starting from 2020 June, what has happened is client letters were not mandatory and contracts were not mandatory. And a few things were changed based on what has happened in 2020. So for the last 4 years, things were happening in one way. And because of the lawsuit, because what really happened in that lawsuit was USCIS failed in that lawsuit because they did not follow a proper procedure. So they have to follow procedures under Administrative Procedure Act, APA. And if they do it, the rule will be valid. And because these old memos did not follow those rules, they did it proper through the APA process. They published the draft version of the final rule. They gave some time for public commenting. They went through all those comments, and then they published the final rule. So this time, so basically whatever happened in 2020 with that lawsuit, I think they used all that experience to finalize this rule. And going forward, because a lot of things are codified, USCIS is required to follow these rules. And because of this, we can expect a lot of new RFEs. The reason is in the last 4 years, we did not see RFEs for contracts, employer-employee relationship, and client letters. Now, these kind of things will change. Now, again, contracts are mandatory. USCIS codified the definition of specialty occupation. They changed the definition of specialty occupation. They also codified some rules around site visits are going to be done differently. Into February 17th, USCIS is also publishing a new, and this incorporates a couple of these final rule changes. And because of these new rule changes, USCIS can start looking at things differently. And based on that, they can start issuing new RFEs if the documentation does not conform to what is required as a part of this new regulations.